Hey guys, it's Tessa. So I finally figured out what I'm going to use the like 800 yards I have left of this green here. This is the Drops Baby Merino Superwash. So that's really exciting. This is the same green I used for the cardigan, this cardigan's ribbing, which is cool. But the project I'm gonna make, as the title implies, is a ranunculus. I have always been curious about this pattern and wanting to make it for a very long time at this point. So that's cool. I need to do a swatch for it. I'm not the most excited because it uses 6mm needles. So I'm a little nervous about making sure I hit the gauge correctly. So that's why for once I'm gonna do a gauge swatch properly. I'm also gonna make size 6, which is a little bit smaller than I would typically make, but this pattern is supposed to be a little bit oversized, so even if it fits me pretty neutrally now, I'm hoping obviously over time it'll fit a little bit looser. Additionally, okay, that's right. So the Ranunculus has two different collar options. First one is a really wide collar, the other one's a not as wide collar. I'm doing the smaller collar. I don't love the full like off the shoulder wide collar. I feel like every time I say that word I'm not understanding it. But so I'm gonna do the smaller collar, and then I'm also gonna do the short sleeve version because I am limited on the amount of this yarn I have. I think it's like 500 and something yards. Maybe I'm wrong. I know I just said like a 900 or something. Give me a second. No, I do have about 1,000 yards. I have 1,058. So I should have plenty for this project. So that's my plan though, is I'm going to do the smaller collar and I'm gonna do it in the short sleeves and obviously probably make it crop to some degree. And for the final bust measurement, when it comes to the size 6, it's gonna be 57.5 inches. I think that's roughly what my bust size is currently. So normally in this kind of pattern, I'd probably go up to a size 8 or 9 potentially just to get the proper drape, but because I am continuing to lose weight and stuff, I think doing the size 6 should be fine, especially if I'm able to meet gauge as well. I'm gonna cast this on. I'm a little bit curious about the collar as well. The way it does the collar ribbing is really interesting to me actually, because instead of doing like a standard or traditional ribbing, it does something similar to the Daft Days cardigan for the stitch it uses, which is really interesting. Specifically because it does a lot of like with yarn in front or with yarn in back. So instead of it doing a standard ribbing, it actually holds its shape maybe a little bit better, I'm hoping. But I'm really interested in it. Additionally, this pattern does have back and front short rows. I think I'm only going to do short rows for the back. I don't necessarily love the boat neck look personally, so I think I am just going to go with the back side short rows is my plan. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. The stitch pattern seems like it's going to be pretty simple as well. The special stitches and the like lace work that occurs seems like it's going to be pretty easy. But basically, I just wanted to talk with you guys a bit before I cast it on, which I'm probably going to do today, if I'm being honest. One of my friends in my knitting group is dropping off some sourdough starter for me, which is really cool because I've killed every sourdough starter I have tried to make. I think my problem was I wasn't feeding it enough to begin with, but hers is already alive and well, so I'm hoping she gives me some sourdough starter and I'm able to keep it alive, and then I can make some dough and stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna go cast this on and wait for her to show up, and then we'll probably check in after I finish the collar section.
So, new hair, but I may or may not have forgotten in the chaos of my life at the moment that I was filming this as its own video. So, I think when we checked in last, am I getting sick? I really hope I'm not getting sick again. Anyway, I think when we checked in last, I had just told you what I was planning to make all of my baby merino that I had left over from one of my cardigans. What I was going to do with that yarn. I was going to make a ranunculus. It's baby's first ranunculus. I can't say it correctly. But hey, we're almost done. We're almost done. Actually, I completely forgot to check in because, again, I forgot I was doing an independent video for this, and for some reason thought I was only going to talk about it in one of my little podcast videos. So here's where we're at. I did a fit test last night, and it's a little tight, but I'm okay with that, knowing that I am losing weight. The thing I'm really concerned about is the gauge potentially for the rows. I'm supposed to knit to 7 inches, and then I'll have 3 more inches for the ribbing. When I tried this on last night, I did a decent amount of rows on it today, but when I tried it on last night, I believe it's roughly at like 5.5, 6 inches at that point. It barely covered my bust, and not even entirely. So that's a problem. So I'm hoping, or I'm assuming, I can keep working on it. I just started this skein of the baby merino, and then I have 2 more up in the shelf here that are untouched as well. So if I need to go through all 3 to make the body, I will, but I don't think I'll need that much, honestly, based on kind of the fit currently. With that try on test, I was really worried that the collar was going to be weird, but it's actually perfect. I did not end up going down in the needle size for the collar, for the collar cuffs, and then switching back to my larger needles. I just used my larger needles the whole time, which I think honestly was a fine choice, at least for the current fit and how it's currently sitting on me. Worst case scenario, I just thread some elastic through it. But again, this is kind of where we are at. It's not very far. I mean, it is very far. We've cast off the arms. Those are just going to stay the same length they're at. That's a lie. I might pick them up again. I have not decided. I want to wait till I finish the body to kind of see how the overall, like how the full fit fits, essentially. So yeah, I'm really sorry that I kind of fell off the planet of the earth. My life's been a little bit hectic with my day job and some other stuff, but I'm starting to feel a lot better mentally from everything. So hopefully that means we're moving in the right direction with existing. Plus, I think my hair looks really fucking cool, and whenever my hair looks cool, I get a boost of confidence, so I'm killing it, really. I think, though, our next check-in is probably going to be when I finish this. So, sorry, this video does not have as much, like, check-in points. I don't know if you guys like a lot of check-ins or little check-ins. I don't really know. But this video, unlike many of my other project vlogs, just does not have a lot of check-in points because I genuinely forgot I was even doing this as a separate video. I was going to do this as one of my knitting podcasts only, but then I realized I just didn't want to do it that way. Also, you'll see when I post my birthday cardigan video, I apparently filmed an intro for that video 3 separate times and have no memory of any of them. So you're going to get that all cut up and nice, and that's going to be fun. In a video that I think at this point I've already released, I talk about how I'm feeling a lot better mentally in general, and I think I just needed a little bit of a break from my business for like a month-long break to kind of recharge my energy and all of that, and I'm feeling pretty great. Working on some projects, should have some new items in the shop soon, so check that out. But yeah, that is our check-in for now. I finished it. It's still need to be blocked, so I'll block it here in a minute. We'll do final thoughts then. But I did end up doing 2 inches longer on the body than the pattern said to do. But that's also just because, again, I made this in a smaller size than I knew I would need at the moment. So as I continue to lose a little bit more weight, it'll be a little bit longer, which I'm kind of okay with, I think. Just because I did 9 inches instead of 7 for the body here. But overall, I think it looks really nice. It's incredibly sheer, but that's also because I used a fingering weight yarn on 6mm needles. So figure that out, I guess. Although even before blocking, I think the eyelet pattern here looks really nice. I am wearing a bralette thingy underneath, so. But yeah, I think it looks nice. My bind off, I think, is a little big. That's also because I didn't switch needles at all on this project. When I did the collar, I used the 6mm needles, and I kind of didn't realize that I
needed to switch to the 5mm ones until I was like halfway through the yoke here, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just finish up in the yoke using the 6, or I'll just use 6 all the way through. But yeah, so I'm gonna go block this now. Right, so maybe I'm a little liar. The sleeves are actually perfect. I was really worried about them being really tight and short, but when I blocked it, because I kind of had to pin the whole collar section here, or the yoke, a little bit more differently than I normally would to make it so the lace looked nice, it grew the sleeve holes a little bit, which is honestly perfect. I think I could even like tolerate them being a tiny bit wider still, but that's more like a personal preference thing. Honestly, if I just cast on like 2 or 3 more stitches and then under the arms and then do like a small gusset there, that'll probably fix the issue. But this is where we are at. Still see-through, but that's fine. So what we have here, we have the front here of the lace work. We have the back. I even think I could have made this like even smaller of a size, which has me a little bit nervous for my birthday cardigan, but it's okay. Alright, so like I said, a little bit nervous about my birthday cardigan being too big at this point because it's already supposed to be kind of oversized, but I'm still going to continue with the size I am making for shits and or gigs. Worst case now is a little bit big. I don't really care. But as for this top, I really enjoyed working on this. Like I mentioned previously, the yoke was a little bit difficult for me to comprehend in a couple sections, but it's just where the way the instructions are written. Like the first time we do this, like we pick up we pick up our yarn between 2 stitches and like drag it over for one of the stitches, and the way it describes it is a little bit hard to comprehend. So I did end up having to look at some of the Ravelry projects, and I basically was able to like process of elimination, figure out how to do it. So the first row of it on here looks a little fucky because I did it wrong and didn't care to frog it back. The other thing I'll add is I think more pattern designers need to do this. If you want to do round yokes and you don't want your sleeves ending like in the middle of your damn waist, do the round yoke and then raglan finish. Oh my gosh, I might do this to make a halibut sweater shirt version just so I don't have to deal with the long ass goddamn yoke on that project. Like everyone talks about how for the halibut sweater specifically, the yoke for it is so unbearably long, which I agree. For me, I'm usually short row gauge, so it was okay for me, worked out for me all right, but still it's funny. The construction's funny. I think any project with a round yoke and it ends the whole top section with the round yoke turns out looking a little funny. The solution is raglan, okay? You do the round yoke, you do the round fucky wucky bullshit, and then you finish it off by doing raglan. Literally, why are more people not doing this? Anyway, that went over. Pattern overall, very well written. It gives you several different options. I think I talked about this a little bit. It's been a while since I looked at this video while editing it versus filming it here. But anyway, essentially the pattern gives you a simple gauge to match, and you can use any yarn any yarn and needles as long as you meet that gauge. One of the unintentional modifications I made to this, however, was for the collar and for the waistband here, or for the waist ribbing, I did not use smaller needles. Honestly, when I was doing the collar, I forgot to switch needles. So I did my 6s. Let me check. Yeah, so I used my 6mm or my size US 10. Yeah. I used those for this entire project. I will say, I think I could have gotten away with using the 5mm for the waist ribbing here, or the bottom ribbing, just because it flares out a little bit, but that also could just be my tension changes quite a bit when I'm going through stuff. So my tension through like the body here is a little bit tighter than it is at the bottom. Anyway, with that though, I don't mind that I didn't use the 5mm needles for the collar here. The collar before blocking, like you saw, was a little bit high up. It's still a little high up for my personal preference, but I'm okay. I'm willing to tolerate it. But I think if I had gone down to the 5mm, it would have kept it really high up on my neck, and I would not have liked that personally. I also did the short neck option, and I did the cast on it recommended, which was a little finicky and I feel like can be done differently. Maybe that's just me thing though. Really, the way you cast on is you do yarn over as part of the cast on. Don't ask me, I don't know. I just read the instructions and followed along. Oh, like I was saying, so you're given a gauge basically, and you can meet that any way you want as long as you meet the gauge with whatever needles or yarn you want to use. So I think my next one I'm going to make in like a worsted yarn, potentially another top, could be like a long sleeve, I don't know, I haven't decided yet. Also depends on what yarn I use. But with that, I ended up using a fingering weight yarn, as you can see. So it is a little bit see-through on me. I don't really care though, because I can just put on one of my bralettes, or honestly probably like a bikini top or a crop top that's like skin tight underneath, and it'll be fine. But there's that. And then I think as well, the pattern not only includes 2 collar types, 2 different ways to do the sleeves, a long sleeve and short sleeve option, and a cropped length and full length option. So you get a lot of like stuff in this pattern. So I do feel its price is justified, for me at least. The other modification I made here was, I made 2 more I guess technically. Other one was the last 2 rows I did for the short sleeve option here. I did a ribbing on just to see if that would stop the rolling up, and it seems like now that I've blocked it, it'll stop it. And then the only other modification I made is I think when I did my stitch pickup here, I didn't follow their directions for like avoiding the hole when you pick up sleeves. When you pick up stitches, I ended up just doing it a different way. I don't remember exactly how I did it. I hope I found the clip for that, but I don't think I did. But essentially what I ended up doing was just really tightly pulling my stitches, if I remember correctly, upon picking them up so that it wouldn't have enough left over to create that hole that occurs. But yeah, that is going to finish this video. I mentioned this in another video, but I plan on making like a million of these. They're honestly, it's really simple, it's really mindless, and I personally really like that. Once you get past the yoke, which I think I finished in 2 days, just this yoke section here, the rest of it's all just stockinette or knit. I confuse the two. You just knit in the round for a while, and then cast off for your sleeves, and cast off or put the stitches on hold for your sleeves, and then cast on and do the body all in knit stitches. But that's gonna conclude this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you've made this before, or if you have any like questions, comments, feedback specifically on the Ranunculus pattern. I'm hopefully going to make more like I mentioned. I don't know if you guys want to see full videos on that, or if you just want to see the final products. Let me know. Leave your comments below, and feel free to subscribe if you want to see more of my chaos, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.